Shalom Aleichem. I want to tell you a great idea that it comes from Parsha Shlach and it applies to the entire year for our mitzvahs. When Klal Yisrael left Mitzrayim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu commanded us to go to the Mitzrayim and ask them for gifts and money, and that's what Klal Yisrael did. But at the same time, Moshe Rabbeinu, instead of going to do that, he was involved in another mitzvah. That mitzvah was to get the bones of Yosef and bring them with Klal Yisrael to Eretz Yisrael so they can be reburied. Because Yosef made the Jewish people swear before he died, when you leave Mitzrayim, please don't forget me, take my remains and bury them in Eretz Yisrael. So Rashi brings a pasuk from Mishlei that describes Moshe Rabbeinu. Chacham leiv yikach mitzvos. A wise person takes or acquires mitzvahs. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu was doing. When the entire Jewish people were running around getting money from the Mitzrayim, what did Moshe Rabbeinu do? He went to take the mitzvah of getting the bones of Yosef. Chacham leiv yikach mitzvahs. A wise-hearted person takes mitzvahs, acquires mitzvahs. Everybody else doing non-mitzvahs, he's doing mitzvahs. The question is, it was clearly a mitzvah from Hashem to go ask the Mitzrayim for money and gifts. So Moshe Rabbeinu chose to do the mitzvah of getting Yosef's bones, and he did not choose to do the mitzvah of getting money and gifts. Why does Rashi say that Moshe chose mitzvahs of getting the bones as opposed to taking the money from the Mitzrayim? What's the big praise? So the answer is the following. It's a yesod, it's a foundational idea in what mitzvahs are in general. Hashem doesn't need our particular mitzvahs. He doesn't need the result of the mitzvah. He doesn't need us to put a mezuzah on that door, for us to put on tefillin, for us to light those Shabbos candles. He has no need for that particular thing. What is necessary is for us to go through the exercise. It's just like when you go to a gym, you work out. There's no need for the gym owner to have the weights go up and down 10 times this way and whatever way there is. There's no purpose in that. The purpose is the growth that you acquire from going through the exercise. We say, Baruch atah Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvah yisav. You gave us kedusha with your mitzvah. And in case you don't relate to that higher level of Kedusha, then Hashem says, Vitzivanu, and He commanded us. But the purpose first is Kiddushanu. It's to raise us, to become better. There's an Avos de Rabbi Nosson, a very famous Avos de Rabbi Nosson that says, if you do one mitzvah with difficulty, it's worth 100 mitzvahs without difficulty. That's an amazing thing. That means if you do one mitzvah that's a little bit more difficult than another mitzvah, you get 100 times the reward. You get 100 times the benefit and the growth. As a matter of fact, the Mishnah says, Lefum tsara agra. According to the difficulty is the gain. It's not just reward, it's the gain in yourself, how you become better. So Moshe Rabbeinu had a choice. He could have gone to a mitzvah that is very, very physically, financially beneficial, going to the Mitzrayim and asking them for money, like the rest of the Jewish people. Or he could have gone to get the bones of Yosef that doesn't have any open benefit from it, and therefore it makes that mitzvah much more difficult. So Moshe chose the more difficult mitzvah, and because he chose a more difficult mitzvah, Lefum Tsara Agra, he gained more. Now, it's still a mitzvah. How can you say that the mitzvah that's difficult, the mitzvah that's easy are not mitzvahs? They're both mitzvahs. So why does Rashi say that Chacham leiv yikach mitzvahs, a wise-hearted person takes mitzvahs, applies to Moshe Rabbeinu? Because Klal Yisrael is also taking mitzvahs. It just happens to be they went for easier ones. So the answer is in the word yikach. Chacham leiv yikach mitzvahs doesn't just mean to take, it means to acquire. Kicha means a kinyan, it means an acquisition, it means you bring it into who you are. It changes who you are. If you have a choice between doing an easy mitzvah and doing a hard mitzvah, and there are no other factors. It's not because you want to get into it. It's not because there's other factors going on. You're afraid you're not going to do the mitzvah at all. If it's a choice between a hard mitzvah and an easy mitzvah, and you're going to do either one, choose the hard mitzvah. Because the hard mitzvah is the one that changes you more. That's what you gain the most from. So Moshe Rabbeinu was a chacham leiv yikach. He made a kinyan on mitzvahs because he took the harder one. Whenever you're in a situation to do a mitzvah, and something's hard and something's easy, the hard one, that's where the greatest growth is. This Avos de Rabbi Nosson that we said before, that if you do one mitzvah with difficulty and another mitzvah without difficulty, the mitzvah with difficulty is worth 100 mitzvahs without difficulty. You know what that means? What's called difficulty? Rav Dessler explains a beautiful, beautiful idea. He said, difficulty, what's called the smallest amount of difficulty? He says difficulty is if you want to give tzedakah and you reach into your pocket and there's 2 coins in there and you pull out the wrong coin and you have the terrible difficulty of having to reach all the way back into your pocket and pull out the other coin. That's called difficulty. That level, that tiny level of difficulty multiplies your reward, multiplies the gain that you have from the mitzvah by 100. If you have to do that level of difficulty twice, it's not just 200, it's 100 times 100, which is 10,000. This is really, really important. When the Mishnah says, Lefum Tsara Agra, it's telling you that one of the most important factors factors in becoming great from a mitzvah is the difficulty involved. Imagine a person goes into the gym and they say, listen, if you do this one exercise, this one rep, it's like 1,000 reps. I'll take it. But it's not just 1,000. This one rep is like 10,000 reps. If it's a little bit more difficult for something, 2 times the difficulty of reaching your hand into your pocket, it's 10,000 times the benefit. That's why Moshe Rabbeinu is called a Yikach mitzvahs. He went for the hardest one and he had the greatest growth from that. That's exactly what we need to do in our lives. Every time something comes up, don't shirk your responsibility. Don't feel like, I can't do this, it's hard. No, that's the time I want. Everybody knows when it comes to lifting weights, it's the same exact thing. If you want definition, great. You need a lot of reps again and again and again, many, many, many times. But if you want size, you want to build size, you want to be bigger, the only way to do it is with heavy weights. It's the same exact thing with mitzvahs. The greatest growth comes from the difficult mitzvahs, not just the easy ones. So when you get a choice to do a hard one or an easy one, hey, that's my great opportunity. I really hope this helps you. It's my sincerest hope down from the bottom of my lave that this is helping you. And if it does help you, please share it with other people, because if we can mechazik Klal Yisrael, we'll all be better off. Lots of love, all the best.